started my interview, and I'm already loving my guest. Christopher Howard, first African-American president of Hampden Sydney College in Virginia, which is the 10th oldest college in the United States. It's one of only 3 all-male colleges in the United States, by the way. He was born and raised in Texas. He's a graduate of the Air Force Academy. He was a Rhodes Scholar, a Harvard MBA, worked for a couple of Fortune 500 companies, worked at the University of Oklahoma. He was vice president for leadership and strategic initiatives there. By the way, is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force Reserve, has a Bronze Star for action in Afghanistan, and has just written this book called Moneymakers Inside the New World of Finance and Business. I don't know what this man does in his spare time, but welcome. Thank you for being with us.
I appreciate it.
What are you doing, having left a major research university, going over to a very small, all-male liberal arts college that doesn't actually have a lot of minority students?
That's a great question. We're doing what we've been doing since 1775. We're forming good men and good citizens, all in an atmosphere of sound learning. And, it's a tough time for boys in higher education, and we're getting it right. We've done it well for over 200 years, and we're doing it right now.
Well, is that a euphemism for boys who have had trouble, or
No euphemism at all. It's not boys that are having trouble. We have exceptional students that come there. I think in general, boys might be having a more difficult time than women in higher education, but we're educating all sorts of boys, and we're getting it right. And in a day and age when a lot of schools are having difficulties, I'm just saying that we're doing it better than a lot of others.
Who's supposed to consider going to an all-male school? Who should be thinking about that?
Well, anybody's looking at going to a great school, period, should be looking at Hampden Sydney College, just like they should be looking at Morehouse College, for example. And as people that want to challenge, they want to be serious-minded, they want a great education, and going to great professional graduate schools, a great job. Those are the people that should be looking at Hampden Sydney College.
It's in Prince Edward County in Virginia, and it was a place that actually closed all public schools for 5 years in the late 50s. The point I'm getting to here is an African-American head of a school in an area that was not particularly welcoming to African-Americans at all. They closed the public schools down so that African-Americans wouldn't be able to go to those public schools. Are you changing that picture?
Well, I think that by definition, by showing up, I am. But I'm here to serve the entire community of Hampden Sydney College. Black, white, green, purple, doesn't matter. But it's not lost on me. Not only was Prince Edward County, the school's part of the Brown versus Board of Education decision. I'm the great-great-grandson of a slave. But yet still, because of the great country we live in, we can transform and we can change. So we're all about a great education, and I think my face looking the way that it does show a significant amount of progress, the building on things that have happened before.
What we do know today is we've got an unemployment rate around 10%, a little less than 10%. If you have a college education, it is cut in half, that unemployment rate. What's your message out there to people who are hemming and hawing about whether an education, particularly liberal arts education, is actually going to help them in a tough economy?
Well, it's a wonderful statement. You mentioned I have a military background. You train for what you know, you educate for what you don't know. We don't know what jobs are going to be important in the future, but we know they're going to be jobs that require critical thinking, practical reasoning, and a good sense of being able to write well, speak well, and good quantitative reasoning skills. A liberal arts education like Hampden Sydney College or your Amherst or Williams, etc., are going to give you that, and that's going to help you going forward. Whether you go into a professional school or a graduate school before that, you're going to be ready when you leave a place like Hampden Sydney College, and that's something that's important to every young person.
Not out of fashion, even in this tough economy.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm one of them. I'm just trying to get you my education. This book, Inside the New World of Finance and Business, what a different world and new world it is.
Very much so.
If somebody had written that book 5 years ago, I'd have said, what's new about finance and business? But it is a new world. What, in your opinion, is the biggest change in the world of finance and business right now?
Well, I think that we're recognizing, as Jeff Immelt said, my former boss at GE, there's been kind of a reset, the ability to access debt like we did years before, the hedge funds, the private equity funds going out there. It's different. I think the government is going to be here to stay in terms of looking over shoulders and making sure that people behave. Maybe if they got liberal arts education and did a little bit more moral philosophy, we'd be in a better shape. But I think that it's much more of a holistic view of finance nowadays.
Well, what a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you taking your time. Wish you continued good luck in your endeavors, although after that resume, I don't think you need any luck. As the first African-American president of Hampden Sydney College in Virginia. When we come back, we're going to go out to Mark McKay again. He's out here.